Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 8, Episode 42, DJI preparing for the storm. I hope everyone's doing well this evening. Episode 42. Where's the time gone by? I mean, good grief. November's on the verge, and Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and yeah. Well, our Christmas gift this year, Valerie and I, our Christmas gift to each other, we get to go up to Ohio. Okay. You can see the grandchildren. All right. And my daughter and her husband too, and hopefully my sons. But yeah, yeah, that's kind of our Christmas gift to ourselves this year, is we get to spend a few days up in Ohio before Christmas. We're gonna go up right before Christmas, and our second granddaughter, Addie, her birthday is December 21st. So we're gonna kind of go up the week before, and that weekend, I think that's when my daughter's planning on having a party for her. So we're really looking forward to it. Looking to have a good time. You guys were Johnny on the spot tonight. My gosh, in the chat. Joe was here. Warren is here. Let's see. Old Fart, welcome. 2 a.m. Wow, that is great. Thank you so much for watching. Drone Shots, Jody. Let's see who else. Gerald Nelson, welcome, Gerald. Steve Janess. Let's see who else we got. Dr. Ted, welcome. DD Fellows. RJ Redding, welcome. Let's see who else we got. Terry Dugas, John Rocker, Richard, welcome. John Flynn, welcome, John. See Johnny Droneflower, welcome, Johnny. Jeff Boyd, welcome. Good to see you tonight, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. Let's see who else. Jaybird, welcome. Drone Shots, Jody Lauren, welcome. Let's see who else. Dale's Drone Action Cam in Thailand's videos, welcome. Let's see who else we got. Okay, yeah. Terry Dugas, welcome. All right, got a full house tonight. I've been spending my Saturday. Guess what I've been spending most of the past couple Saturdays doing is actually the thing that I like doing the most. My favorite hobby is flying drones, and I've got to fly. I've now got at least 4 flights for the Mini 5 Pro under my belt, and I got my first flight in with my Mavic 4 Pro, and going to have a video out on that, and an unboxing video. And I did it separately. I'm doing an unboxing video, and then there's going to kind of be a commentary with that as well, why I ended up buying a Mavic 4 Pro that you don't want to miss. So that's going to be really good. That's coming up. I have I released a Start RC hard case review for the Mini 5 Pro. I think that came out on Monday. I have a soft case review that's going to be coming out this weekend. I got a lot of videos in the pipeline already. I got my first flight with a Mavic 4 Pro video. That's all ready to go, but I want to get my unboxing video. So yeah, that's kind of a nice log jam to have with videos coming up there. Oh, is a note of housekeeping, and I just want to make sure you guys are good with this. Okay. Some of you who are kind of new to the chat and everything, I want to make sure, and especially you guys who are the moderators, just be forewarned here. You know, I want to make sure that we keep everything nice and clean, okay? And what I mean by that is there is going to be no political commenting on here. I actually, and just to let everybody know, I had to delete several comments, not off my stream, but comments, you know, after the video ends up posting. And I've had to do that on several of my videos recently. So just be forewarned, you know, and it's either side. You know, I don't want to hear, you know, you can say Washington is a pain in the neck. That's fine. You can say, you know, I don't care for the politicians in DC. That's fine. But anything more than that, no, because I can't, I have to draw the line somewhere. And I want to make sure that when people read this stuff, our focus is on drones. Our focus is on our hobby. Our focus is on making sure that we can continue to enjoy our hobby. And that's what we're going to be talking about here, preparing for the storm. That's why I ended up calling that out there like that. So just wanted to make sure. So, okay. Also, too, I want to let you guys know. All right, I've gone out there. I've been also busy on eBay. Yes, eBay, and I found some other sellers. I went ahead. I purchased a second battery or a fourth battery for the Mavic 4 Pro. I purchased a second charger for the Mavic 4 Pro. I purchased a second charging hub for the Mavic 4 Pro. I purchased props for the Mavic 4 Pro. They're all on order, and they should be getting here within the next couple of weeks. I think most of those, if not all those. Okay, the battery came from South Korea. Everything else came from China. No tariffs on any of those. So, and one of them was sent FedEx, which is real nice. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also, I went ahead and I got a case for the Mavic 4 Pro. I think they're Nanook, I think is what they're called. They're made up in Canada. These are great cases. The one thing I really like about this case is, and I think you know, if you've watched any of my case review videos, Waypoint New England, welcome. Good to see you. And Koopy, welcome. Thanks for stopping by tonight. Appreciate it. One of the things you guys know, I like it when the props sit below the foam. And in the Nano case, it does. And that was a main reason why I ended up getting that. I'm going to be selling my Mavic 4 Pro case from Lycus. So that'll be on eBay. I'm going to advertise that. So you guys are welcome to bid on that, and I'll price it very competitively. So, all right, here. All right, let's get going on this. All right. First thing I wanted to talk about tonight, and Ron posted this because I didn't see it, and I'm thankfully Ron got this posted here. Make a clean sweep, 28th October 2025, 9 a.m. CET. I don't know what CET time is. So, but apparently DJI's robotic vacuum cleaner will be going on sale on October 28th. Whether or not, Covocation, welcome. Hey, thank you for stopping by tonight. Good to see you. Hope you guys hope both you and both you guys are doing well. Good to see you. Thank you for checking in. Really appreciate that. DJI's robotic vacuum cleaner. And from what I understand, and this is because there really hasn't been a whole lot of information on it out there. From what I understand, it uses the same LiDAR technology like that's in the Mini 5 Pro, like in the Mavic 4 Pro for obstacle avoidance. So it's really improved because we had a Roomba, I'm going to say about 10 years ago or so, and it had its challenges. So interested to see how that does, how how it works out. So and also my guess is you'll probably be able to get it from your South Korean and Japan and Chinese sellers. So be on the lookout for that. I think from what I saw, it was priced around maybe $500, $600, $700 in that kind of range. So and it looks interesting because I also think it can go to the station. It can dump if it's full. It can dump it in a bin and then continue to go do its thing. So we'll see how all that works. Okay. One of the things that I can say about having a Roomba was a couple things. One, we had to set up these, I call them beacons, and it's so it didn't cross that line. And it went in these unbelievably haphazard patterns all the time. And it really had a challenge. We had hardwood floors in our last house, and it really had a challenge with our area rug getting up on there. I mean, it would almost treat it as an obstacle and go around it. So, all right. So that's where that's where we're at. So, okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about is okay. All right. I'll get it together. Don't worry. Val, I've been saying that. Valerie's saying you've been trying to get it together ever since we got married. Never mind. All right. DJI's wild new discounts are making creators very happy. And this is on the Action 5 Pro Essential Combo is now just $269. And its sibling, the Osmo Action 4 Essential Combo, is even cheaper at $219. And these are on both of these deals are out on Amazon. So very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. So No, Jamie, I have not seen heard anything about that. If any of you who are moderators know something about that, or there's a link, drop that in the chat, so we can definitely discuss that if there's some information about that, because we're going to be talking about preparing for this. So, but yeah, so we'll find out what's going on with that. I don't know. I don't know. So, okay, and I think what they're saying is that's towards the FCC. So we'll see. I don't know. But like I said, if somebody finds something about that, drop a link in the chat, and I'll hook that up there, so we can go ahead and talk about that during our segment. Ron's going to be joining me here in just a little bit. So, but yeah, these two cameras are on sale, and these are great prices. I have the Action 5 Pro, and I got to say this: it's the best action camera I've ever had, by far and away. Okay, and and I got to say this: I had the Pocket 3. While I liked it, I like the Action Pro cameras better. All right, I think they're more functional. Okay. The pocket cameras are kind of nice, but I had a hard time. It's easier for me with the Action Cam to constantly just leave it on. All right, and and a lot of times what I'll do is I'll mount it in my pants pocket, and with that rock steady, it records everything, and it does a great job with that. So, okay, Bill. All right, thank you for posting that out there. Which group did you post that in, Bill? Did you post that in the? Okay, let's see if. Okay, let me see here. Okay, Bill did go ahead and post that. Thank you, Bill. I'll go ahead and bring that up here. Okay, I did not see that. That's very interesting. But thank you so much for posting that, Bill. I appreciate that. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But with these action cams, okay. Like I said, that's the reason I sold the Pocket 3. It just wasn't. I mean, it shot great footage and everything, and I liked it. But I really like the action cams, and the action DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro has been absolutely fantastic. I've used it quite a bit recently. Could not be more pleased with the results. It's fantastic for B-roll, and as you know, as a content creator, when I'm going out there and I'm shooting my filming my takeoffs and landings and things like that, it really helps. So, all right. So that's it for the action cams. Now there's Ron. Hey, Ron, how are you, sir?
How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm anxious to talk about our football talk tonight.
Yeah, Steeler Nation is going to be interesting tonight.
Yeah, Steeler Nation is going down the frickin' tubes. I'll tell you that. After what happened last Thursday, we'll talk about that at length
later on.
Yes, we'll talk about that at length after the show. There was a great test of the Mic 3, Ron, and I don't know if you had a chance to see this or not.
I don't think so.
But there was one problem with it, and one of the problems, the one critical flaw, it has like that UPC or that label on the back of it, and the magnet wouldn't attach on there. So what people have done is they've taken that label off, and it's actually worked. So that was the easy fix for this.
Oh, wow.
But I thought that was real interesting that that was a problem on here. That was the problem that people had discovered with this.
I wasn't aware of that at all, Bill.
No, I wasn't either until I saw this article today out on Drone XL. But
well, do you think they'll fix that with the rumored Mic 3 Pro that's coming out in November?
Yeah, I think they'll probably remedy that. Of course, obviously with the Mic 3 Pro, it's going to have that input for the lavalier mic, because I think that's been a lot of people were not happy about that. I can tell you that.
Exactly. A lot of people say, pros, it doesn't matter how small. The Pro doesn't have a microphone hanging off the front of the shirt. Pros use lavaliers.
Right, exactly. Because when I'm filming now, what I've done is I'll put it up here, and it records fantastic. I mean, it picks up the audio really well, but it's not like I'm filming a real estate video or something real
Yeah,
professional.
the Mic 3 is fine for guys like us filming drone videos.
Exactly. Okay. And being able to do something like that, lavalier mics, if you want to look professional, that kind of thing, and have it be unobtrusive, that's why you do that. That's exactly why you do that. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what it what we're gonna see with it. What's been real interesting though, Ron, is I went out to Twitter today and I looked, and Jasper Ellens has been quiet since the end of September. We haven't seen anything for almost a month from him.
Yeah, I mean he's gone quiet, and even Igor's his output has gone way down.
Yeah, he's gone way down, because I went out there to check his account on X today as well. So there's really not a lot out there in terms of
Drone Rumors posts a lot now, but Drone Rumors is kind of just repeating stuff we already know. Drone Rumors isn't really like putting any new information out there.
Yeah, that DJI Rumors. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
DJI Rumors. Yeah.
I've seen them too. And you're right. He's just kind of regurgitating everything that we already know of what's going on out there. I mean, there's really no surprises as far as what we're getting out there from him. So, I mean, it's kind of like just, yesterday's news. Now, the thing that I'm curious about is, number one, the actual time and release for the Mic 3. I think it's probably going to be next week, I think. Or maybe this week.
Well, I mean, the November timeline was what they were saying for a while. That's been moved up, huh?
Yeah. A lot of
I mean, today is the 21st. So November is only it's 31 days in October. So that's only 10 days away. November.
Exactly.
Did you see all this is brewing in the thing that they say that Rick Scott, is urging what's his name over at the FCC to revoke DJI licenses is going back to the end of 2024. So as Bill Thomas said here, that takes the Mini 5, the Mavic 4 Pro, and the Flip out of action if Rick Scott gets his way.
Well, that we're going to talk about that here in a minute, because Bill sent me that article. That article just got posted today. I didn't see it earlier when I was setting up for the show. So Bill, again, thank you for posting that. I do want to talk about the Mini 5 Pro here for just a few minutes here. Well, first of all, I want to talk about the Mavic 4 Pro. And there was this article out on Drone VJ, and it shared this drone that had crashed. It was a Mavic 4 Pro that had crashed.
Really?
And one of the things about the crash, it was about 20 feet or so off the ground, and then all of a sudden it just ended up taking a nosedive in. And what they ended up finding out was there were some stress fractures on one of the propellers. Okay. And because of that, this ended up happening. So one of the common causes include manufacturing defects, material fatigue, installation errors, and inspect damage, extreme conditions here. Okay. And then it talked about proper hover test should include low altitude hovering 3 to 10 feet for 15 to 30 seconds, listening for unusual motor sounds, vibrations, or propeller noise, visual inspection of flight stability, any wobbling, drifting, or erratic behavior, control testing by gently moving the sticks in all directions to verify response control, and motor sound check by listening for any motors working harder than others. Okay. So, and they said this person did that even in this instance. So, I mean, these kind of things do happen. I mean, it's, anything mechanical in nature, electronic in nature, things can fail. And that's what happened here. But it sounded like this was a material kind of a thing with the propellers and the fatigue on there. These are cracks that you couldn't see. They were, it was part of the composite and the surface. So like I said, these kind of things happen, but it's always wise to do this hover test that they're talking about. I wanted to emphasize this to everybody out there. If you're going out there, especially if you're a Part 107 and you're out on a gig, if you're doing a real estate shooting, or if you're doing some other kind of shooting, excuse me, you need to do stuff like that. and you need to make sure that everything's functioning fine with the drone. Okay, so in this instance, somebody, the person that had this, they had a backup Mavic 4 Pro, and they were able to use that to finish their
backup Mavic 4 Pro. That must be nice.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. That's a nice luxury to be able to have. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, and there's no slides or anything for this too, okay? And I've noticed it on all my flights. I've had the Mini 5 Pro up at least 5 times already, and I have the Mavic 4 Pro up for its first flight as well too. And I noticed on the Mini 5 Pro, in every instance, at certain spots, I get a signal interference warning comes popping up, okay? And I actually got that on the Mavic 4 Pro as well too, which really kind of surprised me. And it seems to be kind of generally in the same area, but I don't think it's necessarily the area that's causing this, okay? And the signal strength is fine because I'm looking at I'm standing in the direction for the drone, obviously, okay? And the antennas are in the proper position. That's not an issue. So, the thing that's kind of surprised me, Ron, is that I thought something like this would have already been taken care of by DJI with a firmware update in short order, okay? And still haven't seen anything about this. I mean,
yeah, and especially since I know the Mini 5 Pro, I guess the Mavic 4 Pro they have this dual band technology for transmission signals or whatever. So this dual band thing, I can't explain the technology to it, but supposedly would increase your your signal strength. But I know you're not the first person I've heard of talking about hitting like zones and stuff with their Mini 4 Pro, so Mini 5 Pro. So yeah, that's interesting, Bill.
Couple other things I want to talk about before we get to the main point right here, okay? Our good friend Sean from Air Photography, he's done a couple of great videos out there, tutorials, and one of them here is on focus track, and I want to go ahead and take a brief look at this here. Now, POI, spotlight, and active track, okay? And Sean did a great job on this. He explains everything clearly. Sean does not mince any words, and he doesn't sugarcoat stuff, and he gets right to what you need to know with things, and that's why Sean's one of my favorites. He does a great job with this, and as he did right here with this, okay? And it works really well. And like a spoiler alert, okay, my next video is on point of interest, and spoiler alert, it works like a champ, okay? Absolutely no problems at all. I put it through its paces twice in both directions, and point of interest works absolutely fine with that. So, and again, kudos to Sean for this video. Now, the other video that he did was on waypoints. Now, one of the things that I have never liked about waypoints, Ron, is, I've always imagined being able to do waypoints, setting them up in my house. Now, I know you can do this, okay? Yes. But it's a real pain in the butt to do that, okay?
Yeah, and in Sean's video, he showed both ways. He showed setting up at home, he showed setting up in the field.
Yeah, and I found that setting up in the field is a lot easier than setting up at home, okay? That's a given, all right? And it makes a lot more sense because it's more accurate when you're doing it out in the field than you're doing it at home, okay?
Yes.
And now remember, and I've gotten a lot of feedback before in the past when I've done videos on waypoints, like I did them with the Mavic 2 Pro, I did it with the Mavic 3 Pro, and and the Air 3S. I've done waypoint videos before, and I want to let people know something, okay? I can't get this to work, and they're all they're banging their head against a brick wall and stuff, and I'm like, look, guys, okay, waypoints are nice. Waypoints are especially useful if you're flying in the same area constantly all the time, all right, and you have a ways to go to get where you want to be. It's good for things like that, okay?
A typical example, Bill, be say for you lived in a place where you had all 4 seasons, and you want a waypoint mission, you fly once every season to see how things change.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. Well, our good friend, and I'll bring up a great example, Jeff Voigt. Okay, and I know Jeff's in the chat. he took he tried to do from the same position. He lives in Annapolis, Maryland, and he tried to do a sunset, I believe, over the stadium where Navy plays. Okay, and he wanted to be in the same position or close to the same position as possible, so that I think from what I remember, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you use waypoints to do that because it's as close to as trying to get to that exact spot as you possibly can. And this is what waypoints are for. So a lot of people, I can't get this to work, and they're banging their head against stuff. And I'm like, don't lose any sleep over it. Okay. If you can't get waypoints to work, okay, get with somebody that has had experience with that before. Watch some of the video. Watch Sean's video because Sean does a great job in explaining it.
Yeah, Bill, you're right. If you're doing waypoints for the first time, even on DJI, it can be very finicky.
Yeah. And trust me, and I've done them before and I've gotten them to work. And I mean, I did it like with the Mavic 2 Pro run where I would do it at different altitudes. At one spot, I would take pictures. At another spot, I would take video and all that. And you can do that. And that's great if you have the time and the patience to do things like that. But I understand, something like that, it takes time to set up. You need to be patient about it. And, you're going to have, at first, more failure than success with things like this.
Yeah.
So you just need to exercise some patience with this. Okay. Now, one of the things that I want to say right here is, I titled this tonight, Preparing for the Storm, because, as we thought, the storm was coming in December 23rd. But apparently, that's kind of not the case right now. Let me go ahead and see if I can get
Mr. Rick Senator Scott's trying to bring the story a little early.
Yeah, and I want to see if I can find that here. Okay, here we go. All right. Which is real interesting because, like I said, I didn't see this. And I want to thank everybody. I want to thank especially Bill Thomas for passing on the link for that. Florida Senator Rick Scott is pushing FCC Chairman Brendan Carr to weaponize next week's regulatory vote against Chinese drone manufacturers, demanding the agency retroactively revoke all DJI and Autel Robotics equipment authorization issued since December 23rd, 2024. Okay. First, rescind all existing FCC equipment authorizations for DJI and Autel Robotics devices since the fiscal year 2025 NDAA was enacted December 23rd, 2024. Second, deny any new licenses to devices that utilize components, software, or subsystems sourced from DJI Autel or their subsidiaries. Third, strengthen corporate disclosure requirements in FCC listings to prevent shell companies from concealing ultimate ownership or control. The Florida Republicans cited evidence first uncovered by security researcher Conrad and reported by Drone XL showing DJI logos in its Lino Dynamics FCC documentation, and that's regarding the shell companies. Okay, FCC vote could close component parts loophole. The October 28th FCC vote centers on two regulatory changes that directly target the workaround strategy DJI has been building since March of 2024. The agency will vote to prohibit authorization of devices containing covered list component parts and authorize the FCC to prohibit the sale of previous authorized covered list equipment in specific cases. In other words, that would shut down these shell companies. All right. Security researcher Conrad documented at least 9 suspected DJI shell companies submitting FCC applications since March of 2024, including SkyRover, Cogito, Jovistar, Thick Axo, Lino Dynamics, and Spatial Hover. These companies sell drones with DJI components, OcuSync frequencies, and in some cases, visible DJI logos in federal filings. December 23rd deadline looms as no agency confirms security review. DJI faces an automatic ban if no federal agency completes a mandatory security review by December 23rd, 2025, exactly 1 year after the NDAA was signed into law. Okay. Section 1709 mandates that a U.S. national security agency must determine whether DJI poses an unacceptable risk by that deadline. If no agency completes the review, DJI will automatically join the FCC's covered list, effective banning new drone sales by restricting spectrum access. No federal agency has confirmed they're conducting the mandated security assessment. Scott requested a response from Chairman Carr by close of business October 27th, 1 day before the FCC vote. The senator framed the issue as both a national security imperative and an economic opportunity. Okay. Drone XL strongly opposes Senator Scott's demands for immediate retroactive bans. The letter represents the most aggressive congressional push yet to accelerate DJI's removal from the U.S. market before the automatic December ban even triggers. Scott isn't asking the FCC to investigate shell companies. He's demanding immediate retroactive revocation of all equipment authorizations issued in the past 10 months. The timing is strategic. By requesting a response one day before October 28th vote, Scott is essentially forcing CAR to address these demands in real time during the regulatory process. If the FCC adopts Scott's recommendations, DJI shell company strategy collapses immediately. Companies like SkyRover and SkyRover selling their non-DJI drones with DJI components would lose their FCC authorization overnight. Drone XL has documented the shell company network Scott references. The evidence of shell company operations is compelling and deserves scrutiny. But we strongly oppose Senator Scott's demand for immediate retroactive bans. This isn't about defending shell companies. It's about protecting the thousands of small businesses, first responders, search and rescue teams, farmers, infrastructure inspectors, and public safety agencies that have come to rely heavily on Chinese-made drones from DJI and Autel Robotics. These organizations invested equipment based on valid FCC authorizations. Retroactively revoking these authorizations doesn't just hurt DJI, it grounds critical operations across America. Fire departments using DJI drones for search and rescue, agriculture business using Autel for crop monitoring, small video production companies that invested savings in DJI equipment. Scott's approach punishes American operators for Chinese manufacturers of Asian tactics. The December 23rd deadline already exists as an enforcement mechanism. Accelerating it by 2 months through retroactive bans creates chaos without improving security. The FCC should address shell company evasion through the component parts prohibition in the October 28th vote. But retroactively yanking certifications for equipment already in the field that sets a dangerous regulatory precedent and inflicts immediate economic damage on the American businesses that played by the rules. And that's the end of that. Ron, this is incredible. Okay, this is absolutely incredible. Just when you think it's not getting any worse, it's getting worse.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Scott take it to another level here. I mean, when did Rick Scott become such a drone expert?
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. And when they have been, people have gone to them, and he has not said one word about why DJI drones are a security threat. Not offered one shred of evidence. Okay. The same with Stefaniak, okay, and her gang, all right? And again, this is not Republican Democrat, guys, okay? And I want to be real crystal clear about that, all right? This is our hobby. And one of the things that I've talked about, like in ham radio.
This is big money lobbyists versus us poor little hobbyists.
Yeah, exactly, okay? And
those lobbyists, they hand out money. They're undiscriminated who they hand that money out to. They don't care what your party is, as long as you get done what they want to get done.
Yeah. And one of the things that I want to emphasize here, guys, okay? Get out on X. If you don't have an X account, get out there. Senator Rick Scott is out there, okay? Flood him with, at the very least, what you can do is cut and paste what Hey Kestelou said and send that to him. Okay, post that out there to him.
Over and over again.
Yeah. Over and over again. All you guys, get out there and flood this. Okay. He has no business doing this. He doesn't offer any one shred of proof, 1 ounce of proof why DJI drones is a security threat to the United States of America. He'd be doing
something to help his constituents in Florida rather than worry about all this.
Yeah.
Richard says about maybe the government shutdown, it moved too fast. Richard says it is a blessing. Well, the problem is, I wish Bill, a lot of people are getting paid and getting laid off. I wish Brendan Carr would be one of those people who got laid off.
Yeah, and some of these guys are still collecting paychecks, which is
Brendan Carr, he probably gets so much that bribe money from the lobbyists, he didn't even need a real salary.
Yeah. And it's just at this point here, okay. Yeah. Exactly, Dre. I mean, yeah. I mean, he really has. He hasn't been off that for a while, and and I got to say this now that we're coming up to the 11th hour and 59th minute here, kind of a thing, so to speak. And one of the things that I got to say about this, okay, this is all about getting contracts, okay, and I know what people have said before, okay, and I really think what they're doing is this. They want to, I think Skydio is going to rise from the ashes here, okay, and you're going to see them getting infused with cash, and you're going to see them, selling drones. They are selling drones already to the government, but they're gonna ramp up production to be able to sell to first responders and the like. Okay, these are what you're going to see. But what the real interesting thing is, Ron, and you know what, a lot of people don't remember. All right, and this happened. It was about a year or so ago. Skydio was having a problem getting a component or so. It's only available in a lot of their components come from China. So, yeah. Rick Scott, this is an open statement to you. Okay. If Skydio's pulling their parts from China, okay, what's the difference? All right. My HP computer that I'm using right here. Okay. Have where it's made. All right. Made in China. All right. I have just about everything that I have in this house. I have 3 HP computers, all made in China. My monitor, made in China. All right.
Yeah. So of all these Chinese components, not even just a computer-related stuff, they make appliances, home appliances, all across the board. Why is the only Chinese product that's bad drones? Why do all the other Chinese gadgets get some kind of a pass?
Yeah, and I gotta say this, okay? It's like my dad had a saying. It's like day-old fish left on the counter overnight. All right, it's going to smell really bad. All right, that's exactly what this is. This smells really bad. And I gotta say this, and I'm going to go back because, for lack of a better point of reference here, I'm looking at Skydio here, Ron. Okay, because I'm trying to justify everything that's going on with all of this. And the only thing that really kind of makes sense here, all right, no, Adam Bry's like, no. You know what? I call BS here in this 100%, because what's happening here is they want to force DJI out, all right, and they want and enter Skydio, all right. And, all of a sudden, you're going to see Skydio get infused with all this money. You're going to see some manufacturing facilities popped up overnight, which they had probably already been building. All right. And you're going to see them being able to produce drones out there, not consumer drones, but drones for, corporate drones, and, commercial type drones, first responder type drones. All right. You're going to see this happen all of a sudden overnight. Boom. Okay. And everybody's going to go, well, how did that happen? How come we didn't know about this? Well, it's all happening under your eyes, folks. Okay. There's a lot of things that Uncle Sam
we should boycott Skydio when they release new drones. They'll put all these drones out. Don't buy anything from Skydio. Boycott them. Huawei. Yeah, we know Stefani started this mess.
Yeah, it's all, yeah. Thank you, John. John, thank you so much for posting that link. Appreciate that. Guys, this is a time, okay, and I'm going to say this, okay, go out there and look up, first of all, get on X and message Senator Rick Scott, okay? This is ridiculous, okay? All right, the whole thing, and I'll go back to, the whole thing during the Revolutionary War, taxation without representation. Okay. You know what? You're an elected official for us. Okay. And your constituents, and I'm a constituent of yours. You're in the state of Florida. Okay. And I live in the state of Florida because I'm going to say this.
Rick Scott works for you, Bill.
Exactly. Okay. One of the things that I'm going to say is this. Okay. You're going to hear from me after the show. All right. And I hope hundreds, if not thousands of you will get out there and send him that message tomorrow morning. Also, look up his number in Washington, D.C. Give his office a call. speak to a person. Don't leave a voicemail, but speak to a person. And if you have to read that statement that High Kestelou put out there, okay, so be it. Read that to them, okay? Because, and you want to be even, I mean, yeah, I'm a little amped up right now, but you want to do it in such a way that you convey a strong message that you do not agree with Senator Scott, that he represents the people and not big businesses, that he represents us and not lobbyists, okay? He works for us. He doesn't work for them, all right? And just as quickly as he got in as a senator, that's as quickly as he can get out as a senator here in the state of Florida, okay? I can tell you that right now. And this is not Republican or Democrat, okay? This is outlandish.
You know what he'll be up for re-election, Bill?
You know, I don't know. I think he'll be up for next re-election, next presidential election, all right?
Okay.
Because he wasn't up for election last time, but I think it's going to be this time coming up, okay? The next 2028 is, I think, the next election. So I think that's when he'll be running again. And I'll tell you what, you know, I don't care. We can get the dog catcher to run against him. I'll vote for the dog catcher, okay? Because this is ridiculous, okay? You don't go out there and you are taking away livelihood from hundreds, if not thousands, of people out there. All right, you're crippling first responders, trying to save lives. All right, all because you're on some wild goose chase about DJI and posing a security threat, which has been proven by multiple independent companies, including the Big 8 accounting firm Price Waterhouse, as they pose no security threat. Okay, no security threat. All right, none. All right. And why aren't you, like I said, why aren't you after, say, Hewlett Packard, who make computers over there, okay? Or Dell, okay? I know they make computers over there as well, too, all right? Why aren't you out there after that, you know, okay? Or Apple, okay? Hello, the iPhone, all right? What more do you need for gathering data than an iPhone, okay? How much more data is an iPhone going to gather than, say, a Mavic 4 Pro, all right? And this whole thing about revocating things that have been approved already, all right, that's setting the wrong kind of precedence here. Wrong, okay? And you have to understand something, okay? If you know anything, and for those of you in the chat, a few of you who know ham radios like I do, okay, you can't shut off that part of the spectrum, okay? You can't do that because others are dependent on adjacent parts of that spectrum. So you can't shut that off. You can't do that. That's, you know, that's in concrete. You can't do that kind of stuff. Yeah. All right.
I'm sure Rick Scott doesn't take consideration technology here. Rick just wants what he wants.
Yeah, exactly. Covocation. Exactly. Yeah, it is. It is. And I agree. All right. You know, for stuff like this, okay, these people need to understand something, okay? And I don't care Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter in this instance, okay? You work for us, okay? You don't work for the lobbyists. You don't work for special interest groups. You don't work for Adam Bride from Skydio, okay? You work for us, okay?
Yeah. And I would ask, how many emails do you have in your desk from constituents in your own voting district ask you to get rid of DJI drones? How many emails came out begging you to get rid of DJI drones? I bet she doesn't have one real one.
Yeah.
Constituents aren't worried about DJI drones. They're worried about everybody else is worried about economy, you know, healthcare, stuff like that.
And yeah, this is all, you know, my talk tonight was going to be on preparing for the storm for December 23rd. And we're facing another storm right now. And it's an immediate one that's coming up on October 27th from Rick Scott. And I want to thank Bill, you know, Thomas, for dropping that link and sending me that link and posting it in our Facebook Messenger group. Thank you for doing that.
And they're having that big vote, but they say that the only people voting will be like, you know, the board, like at the FCC is the board. And those votes, they're probably already, you know, spoken for, right, Bill?
You know, Ron,
they're probably not open-minded votes, right?
Yeah. And you know, it's pretty much they vote the way Brendan Carr pretty much will tell them to vote. All right. Now I'm basing this on, you know, things that have transpired with like ham radio. and measures that have passed because of that. And I'm gonna flip it around here just real quick. All right. Currently, there is a proposed bill before Congress, all right, that will allow ham radio operators like me, all right, in the United States who live in an HOA to erect a permanent antenna on our property because it is shown to be a proven life-saving skill, all right, ham radio, all right. So because HOAs have been unbelievably just anal about no antennas. You can't do that. No. Well, that's going to go out the window and they say there's enough votes to pass. And it's a bipartisan bill. Both Republicans and Democrats agree to it. No problem whatsoever. Okay. None whatsoever. All right. And the other thing that I want to bring up with ham radio before we get back to this, and sorry for the sidebar, but I think it's important here. Okay. There are several ham radio manufacturers from China. Okay. And no, you're not hearing one thing from Stefaniak or Scott or whomever about, oh, we got to go after them. Okay. Well, and realize something. Okay. And if you guys who aren't ham radio educated here, okay, HF radio, and if you purchase an HF radio and you have a nice enough, have a decent enough antenna, you can talk halfway around the world or around the world, 8,000-9,000 miles from where you live.
Spies could talk on that thing. Yeah,
exactly. So, I'm kind of on my soapbox here, Ron, and it's just, it's like the more you dig, the worse, you're thinking you're going to get gold, okay, and all you're getting is water and more mud with this, okay. The deeper that you dig with this, I mean, it's just getting nasty, it's getting ugly, it's just, and I'll pose and I'll flip this around again too, okay, and I'm going to use this, all right. Ham radio has the American Radio Relay League, the ARRL, okay, as a lobbyist, so to speak, okay, and they're the ones that defend the spectrum, okay, the radio bands, from being taken over, and they're our voice with the FCC and with Congress, and they do a great job, okay. I'm also going to say the NRA, and I'm not going to really do too much about that because they go out there and they're a very powerful lobby, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say here, okay. Unfortunately, we don't have that here, okay, as drone enthusiasts, all right, and as Part 107 operators. We don't have that. I mean, granted, the what's that aviation group for model airplanes?
Yeah,
I forget.
AMA.
Hey, the AMA, okay. They're a good organization at all, but they don't really, they're more for radio-controlled airplanes, okay? They're not really, their purview isn't for drones, all right? Although, I've joined before and I was a member of them for a while, but, their purview is really radio-controlled planes. And realize, too, okay, for those of you who fly radio-controlled planes, this is going to affect you as well, all right? Because these components are made over in China. I know that for a fact because I dabbled in radio-controlled planes for a while, okay? All these components are made over in China. So, what? Ron, you got any thoughts about this?
No, just that, again, it's just the same old thing. They want to ban DJI, but not show us any proof or evidence that they're doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
And they just keep piling on, they in the beginning, it's finally piled on with the, calling a military institution and got the Customs Department to stop the drones at the border over the Uyghurs. And then, of course, military came at them from all angles. They got to have that inspection. Now, they're coming at them from the FCC. So they're coming at them from every angle, Bill.
Yeah.
I mean, DJI's been dodging bullets, but they're going to have to get a 360 vest to block all these bullets.
Yeah. Well, it's October, and to answer your question, Greg, okay, October 28th is when Brendan Carr and the FCC, the board will make their decision, and basically, and Koopy put up a comment as well too. And I think what's going to happen at a minimum here, okay, they're going to probably do the ban the covered list or the and what in essence what they're going to do is
they're going to get rid of the what do you call the
shell companies.
Shell companies, whatever. That's a
Yeah.
very minimum.
At the minimum, they're going to do that. Okay. But I'm really having a hard time wrapping my head around what Rick Scott says about going back and retroactively doing this, because basically you can't shut off part of the spectrum. You can't physically go back and do that. And Ron, I don't know. I don't think there's any precedent. I don't think this has ever happened before. All right. To go back and pull stuff like this from the market. Now, I don't know. I'm not 100% versed on the Huawei situation, what happened with them. But they pulled all their components. They stopped it in its tracks.
A lot of people still have Huawei phones and they still work in the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm going to say this. I think Rick Scott is trying to stir the pot up here. All right. And try to get some reaction. And he's gotten reaction out of me.
It must just be a matter of bribes, because he's not going to gain any extra votes by doing this. Nobody cares if he bans a bunch of Chinese drones. It's not going to earn him more votes at the polls. I mean, the regular person wants to know how much gas is, how much food is at the store. They're not really worried about whether or not some drone spying on them from China.
Exactly. Are my gas prices lower? Can I go to the grocery store? Can I get more groceries this week? Are my medical bills,
when I can't pay the rent, I could care less about a drone spying.
Yeah. Can I get help with my rent or my mortgage payment? And, can I get help with my medical bills? All right. Are medical costs going to get cut?
Right.
Are you going to cut the price of gasoline, groceries, things that we need to live on? No, we're more concerned about trying to ban a Chinese company, okay, than taking care of 99% of the constituents of the United States of America here, all right?
Yeah, we're trying to ban a Chinese drone company so our American drones can come in at a much, much higher price that you people won't be able to afford. Yeah, the AMA's never been real friendly to drones. So
well, John, and like I said, and I'm saying this speaking from a person with knowledge of the FCC from the ham radio side, okay? They can't shut off parts of the spectrum, okay? They can't shut off that spectrum that DJI uses to communicate those frequencies, okay? Because it's not only used by them, it's adjacent to other ones, and it would shut other ones down. So they can't do that, okay? I think this is a lot of saber rattling from Rick Scott, as far as that's concerned. I think I think the thrust of this, the more I'm thinking about this, is trying to get Brendan Carr, number one, to make sure that we eliminate the shell companies. All right. And I think that's what the thrust of this is to go ahead and do that. And then I don't think anything's going to be done until December 23rd, as far as the hard and fast date is concerned. But he's doing a lot of saber rattling here, and he's trying to get action. All right. And I don't think, and I don't see this happening until December 23rd. The more I think about this. Yeah.
John Rocker was saying they're not trying to shut off the thing. They're just trying to, make it illegal to fly these drones.
Okay. So here's
based on the honor system.
And here's a $60,000 question. Okay. You have a Mavic 4 Pro and a Mini 5 Pro. I had the same. All right. And just for grins and giggles, let's say this happens. All right. So I go up and fly mine. Am I breaking the law? Okay. If I fly my Mavic 4 Pro. And here's another real interesting question here. Okay. Let's say we get some hotshot law firm. Okay. Like a big law firm to file a class action lawsuit against the federal government for all of us who have bought Mavic 4 Pros and Mini 5 Pros.
We can't fly them.
Because we can't fly them. Because nothing has been proven. Nothing has been proven. Nothing.
Yeah, well, true. But of course, they'll just go to the Supreme Court or something, or some high judge. They'll say, well, even though there's not a shred of evidence against DJIs, we're gonna roll with the government anyways, because we always side with the government, something like that.
Yeah. I just Johnny, yeah.
John's gonna fly. John's flying dirty.
Well, and I'm gonna say this, okay. number one, the federal government is technically shut down right now. So, good luck with
they're
that.
working real hard at the FCC bill when that shut down.
Yeah. And the other thing is, who's going to enforce this? How in the world are they going to enforce this? Okay. Because again,
when it comes to crash or incident or whatever, they'll throw the book at you, whatever. They'll do like a Mikey. They'll throw every little rule they can at somebody who gets first guy crashes or does something. They'll throw the book at somebody.
Jamie, that's a good suggestion. What I probably am going to do is I'm going to reach out to Vic Moss and see if we can get him on next week.
Probably him and Greg would come on together.
Yeah, get both him and Greg. I'm going to see if I can invite both of them on the show. I think that would be a great discussion to have with both of them.
Of course, it wouldn't probably be a lot of good news in that show.
I think it's more of getting some information from them and finding out, according to them, what's going to happen here. All right, with what we know. So, Ron, any more thoughts before we switch to football here?
No, I mean, again, sorry we don't have any better news on you on the quote future DJI drone bans or whatever. We never have any really good news. Things just seem to go from bad to worse. But right now, it's still legal to fly your drones. So don't mope around. Keep flying these drones until they come take our drones away from us, right, Bill? When the government ban pulls up and takes our drones away, keep flying them until that point, right?
Absolutely here. So this is the point of the show, and I want to make sure everybody's very well aware of this. Okay. We're going to Steeler Nation or Football Nation right now and talk about what transpired over the NFL over the weekend. And I know a lot of you have really enjoyed this. So Ron and I spent about another 10 minutes or so talking about football here. Okay.
And this weekend, football games got kicked off by a big Thursday night special with the Pittsburgh Steelers versus their old rivals, the Cincinnati Bengals. And Pittsburgh was pretty heavy favorites in that game, Bill.
Yeah, they were. I mean, it was looking real good, Ron. They were up.
I believe it was 10. I was out that night, but I got home. It was 10-0 Steelers.
I think they got up to 20-0 before.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then,
but I think right before halftime, Cincinnati got in the board, right?
Yeah, they got a field goal, and then it was like 23. I'm like, oh okay. So I was feeling fairly confident, and then the Flacco to Chase slant route.
How many balls did
16 catches, Ron? 16.
How often do you see a guy get 16 catches in a game?
How often do you see? I made a statement to one of my Steeler friends. You catch 5 balls in a game, you're like golden. Okay,
it's a good game.
16.
And as what's the guy on the post show on the Thursday night games? The guy used to be the cover corner for Seattle. What's his name? He's on after the game. Has the long hair.
Was it Sherman?
Richard Sherman. Sherman said most of those balls were called in the Steelers' $30 million shutdown corner. Ramsey.
Yeah. Well, okay. Mike Tomlin, beginning of the season. Our defense can stop anyone. Okay.
They have one of the higher priced defenses in the league, Bill.
We have the number one highest priced defense in the NFL. Number one. There was a stat about that. They published a stat. The next closest one is at least $5 to $10 million away from the Steelers. All right. Just absolutely, positively ridiculous as far as that's concerned. Okay. The other thing is this: the Steelers defensive coordinator, Terrell Austin. All right. He can't tie his shoes without Mike Tomlin telling him he can tie his shoes. All right.
Okay.
So if you want to go and point the blame for that game, you look at Mike Tomlin. Okay. His press conference, I was watching it live, 2 minutes, and he was out of there. I mean, and you know what? You could replay a press conference from him from 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. He said exactly the same. Got to hand my head off to the Bengals. They're a great football team, okay? We just didn't execute well on our side of the ball. I'm like, you know what? You keep saying the same stuff week in and week out when you lose a game. Okay,
nothing ever changes.
Exactly, and you never accept responsibility for stuff. Ron, there were people who I know who were Tomlin supporters. They came out and they were on X on Twitter, and they were saying he needs to get fired now. Okay, that was the Bengals were 2-4. Okay, and
well, they lost 4 straight.
And they lost 4 straight. All right, and you're coming in there. The Steelers.
And a lot of those games, they hardly had any offense.
You're coming up against probably one of the worst defenses in the league with Cincinnati. Okay, and Aaron Rodgers did well. Okay, I don't deny that. But you know what?
Freiermuth had a great game at tight end for him.
Ron, when they got that touchdown to go ahead, I'm by myself watching the game because Valerie's long in bed, and I'm like, you know what? They're going to lose this game because there was too much time on the clock left.
Yeah, well, again, you should have watched the post game show on whatever the network it's on or whatever. Games on Amazon, but Richard Sherman came on. Good thing Tomlin wasn't watching. He got on the Steelers' defense and the scheming. Really, he talked about all his passes. He said, "Why are they playing man coverage the whole game? The Bengals have 2 Pro Bowl receivers. Not only Chase, what's his name, but the other guys, the Higgins or what's the other?
Yeah, Higgins.
Yeah, they have 2 Pro Bowl receivers." He said they don't have 2 great shutdown quarters. They should have been playing. He said, "Who's playing man? Who wanted to play man all the time?" And then they got Flacco and Chase on the set, right? And Richard Sherman talked about, at one point when they finally stopped playing man, they did these double brackets, right? Where they doubled Chase and they doubled Higgins up on either side. But you know what Flacco said? Flacco said, "We knew that was coming all night, and I couldn't wait for it to come." So as soon as he saw the double brackets come, he calls the audible. He has a guy run straight down the field, right? The third receiver runs straight down the field. He throws that guy like a missile or whatever. I mean, the Pittsburgh defender, he was kind of there, but I think the ball came in so fast, he didn't even know it was coming in or whatever. And that was a big chunk play. That was maybe the play 30, 40 yards or whatever. And what Richard Sherman said, what at that point, when you did the double brackets, why do you have your $30 million? Why do you waste a $30 million cover band in a bracket? He should have been a double team. He should have been that guy coming across the middle of the field or whatever. Flacco, we know he's old, he's 4 years old, but Flacco had the strongest arm in the league when he came in. He still got a fastball. He put that ball. The Steelers guy didn't have a chance to react. He put that ball in so fast. And it was probably the Steelers' like 5th defensive back or whatever, on this kid. And I mean, but that just goes to show you the coaching. They knew Flacco said, I knew those brackets were going to come sooner or later. And as soon as they came, he was ready for them. He had the play all set to go. And Flacco's not like a rookie. As soon as he sees the play, he immediately audibles into the correct play. I mean, it's like they didn't know they were getting on against a wily veteran that still had a monster, a rocket arm or whatever. And then you talked about this before. So at the end, when Higgins catches that ball, and he's smart enough to slide down the 5-yard line to run the clock out, right? And they waste the Steelers 3 timeouts by running plays, and they went over to Tomlin over there. He, just like you said, he looks like the deer in the headlights look on his face. Oh yeah, he keeps looking around like, what's happening here? I thought we won the game or whatever. The confusion on his face when they were. I think, but the announcers, they had to hand it to Higgins. They said he could have ran there and got that TD for glory, but he played team ball there. He slid down because he knew he didn't want to give. They only gave Rodgers 7 seconds at the end of the game.
Well, see, that's what we should have done when we caught the pass. I think it was it Freiermuth who had that touchdown? Okay, he should have done that. Okay, yeah. He should have slid down so they could have ate more time off the freaking clock. And
you've been complaining about Steelers time management for a while now, right, Bill?
Oh, Tomlin has zero. He has no clue about managing time, Ron. He never has since day one in the league. The other thing is, Flacco admitted he didn't know the playbook for the Bengals. He had no clue when he was stepping out there, none whatsoever. Okay, and you had him out there.
They said what Sherman said, what Flacco did, right? If he didn't know where to go with the ball, you know what he's doing? Well, I'll throw it to I'll throw it to Chase. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you don't know where to go with the ball, just throw it to Chase.
Yeah. And the other thing is, okay, Joey Porter Jr., he got called for at least 3 or 4 pass interference calls that night. All right. Yeah. All right, come on. Okay, it's time to cut and run with him. Okay, that's ridiculous. I mean, every time there's a receiver in the area, they throw a freaking flag with Joey Porter Jr. I'm like, seriously? Okay, that's just like, see you later. Okay, see you later.
I guess he was hoping to get away with some, but I think they're looking for him out there. So
they were. I mean, it was like they were honed in right in on him. Okay, and I'll tell you what. All right, people who have been pro Tomlin. Okay, they have turned tail 100%. They said he needs to go after a debacle like that. That's
they
ridiculous.
should have heard Sherman calling out the Pittsburgh defensive strategy at the end of the game. And Sherman could talk. He was a Pro Bowl defensive back. He knows exactly what should be done out there.
He didn't mince any words.
And they said Tomlin after the game was still complaining about the Browns trading Flacco over to the Bengals. Whatever. First of all, as your coach, you can't control what some of the trades the team do. And you know why he wanted Flacco on the Browns, because you know why? The Browns don't have any good receivers. So Flacco's kind of, it's like he got his wing clipped over. He has nobody to throw the ball, but you trade him over to Cincinnati. He's got 2 Pro Bowl receivers. He knows what to do with Pro Bowl receivers, Bill.
Oh yeah.
Beat him.
Oh yeah. Well, and a lot of people
Flacco looked like he had more. I mean, Rodgers played well, but Flacco looked like even better.
Well, here's the thing, okay? And people need to realize something. They're like, Tomlin, when he's literally, there's a video of him when he beat the Browns. He's doing one of these, okay?
The Browns, yeah,
beating the Browns. I'm like, you're beating the worst freaking team in the National Football League, and you're pumping your chest, okay? Yeah. All right, ridiculous kind of stuff. And I've said, and a lot of people are agreeing with me, there's only one thing that man does right, is he goes to the Steelers' office to pick up his freaking paycheck. The guy gets $10 million a year for doing this, okay? $10 million. Mediocre Mike.
And you talk about the Browns, they played a clip, though. They said it's almost exactly 2 years ago from that game last Thursday. The Steelers played the Browns on a Thursday night game, and Flacco was on the Browns then. Flacco got him that night, too.
Yep. Sure did. And, and here's the other thing, okay? And everybody's like, oh, well, Aaron Rodgers is doing great, blah, blah, blah. And I said, now, I will say this. Aaron Rodgers had a good game.
Yeah, he had a good game. That wasn't his fault. None of that was his fault. That was
not his fault at all. I said, but people need to wake up and realize something here, okay? Their strength of schedule is coming up. They got some really tough games coming up right now, okay? Indianapolis is no slouch. They have them coming up.
They're the top team in the AFC, like 6-1 or something.
Buffalo is coming up, all right? Yeah, so, you got, and then, okay, the Bengals will be playing them in Pittsburgh, all right? And then they got, it's like,
and the thing is, like when you get to the playoffs or whatever, you're no longer seeing the quarterbacks like Cleveland has and the Jets have, whatever. You're seeing people like Flacco. So you better get used to playing against guys like Flacco, because that's the guys you're going to see in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, Flacco, maybe the Bengals, but that caliber, a quarterback that knows what to do out there.
Well, and that the Ravens won't be down too long, okay? I know a lot of people have been saying, they're really hurting right now because, what's his name? Lamar's out for a while. Lamar comes back and they get healthy. Look out, okay?
Well, their defense has been terrible too. So
their defense has been awful this year. Yeah. I mean, but their offense can pick back up. So, everybody that's saying, oh, yeah, we're 4-2, look at us kind of stuff. I'm like, guys, who have we played this year?
Yeah. Well, Greg said no young talent in the offense of Pittsburgh. Rodgers is 5 months and combined 80 years old. But where's the Steelers running game? Well, actually, what's his name? What's the Steelers running back?
Warren.
Warren ran for over 100 yards. So there's nothing wrong with the Steelers offense. The Steelers had a running back go for 100 yards. Rodgers threw for 280 or something. Freiermuth had 100 yards. There was nothing wrong with the Steelers offense. It was all on the other. And you said the defense is the coach's pet over there. The defense is what he's concerned about, right?
Yeah. Tomlin is supposed to be a defensive specialist. Okay. All right. My God.
Did he mold that Tampa Bay Super Bowl team from the early 2000s or whatever?
Okay. He was under. Okay. He was a defensive backs coach for the Minnesota Vikings, okay. Tomlin. All right.
Yeah.
And did you know where the pass defense, the Vikings were that year? They were like 25th or 26th in the league on pass defense that year. and he was defensive backs coach.
He must
All
use
right?
that same defensive strategy last Thursday night for the Bengals game.
Yeah, he employed that kind of stuff as well. All right, it's just a sick joke, a sick joke. So, well, they got okay. Let's talk about a schedule. You know who the Steelers are playing this week?
No.
Green Bay on Sunday night in Pittsburgh.
And Green Bay, Green Bay's doing okay. I saw them play this Sunday. They struggled to beat somebody this Sunday. Green Bay's not. It's not like they're undefeatable or whatever. They're taking their lumps too. But
yeah, they're taking their lumps as well too. But I think I just
you think you're in trouble.
Yeah,
watch. I don't think the Packers' offense has been that great lately. But watch, it'll come back this week, right?
It's gonna. You know what? In mediocre Mike, and that people are saying it now, and a lot of the good Pittsburgh sports writers are saying it too. That his run at a 500 or above is going to be over this year. He's going to have his first
pull out a
losing
9-8 this season. Well, they have it. You said they have 4-2, so they got to win 5 more games to be over 500.
Yep, and that's not going to happen.
You don't see 5 wins on the schedule, huh?
Nope, I do not see that. So,
and then of course, you had the most exciting game of the week was the Denver Broncos are playing the poor New York Giants, who I'm not sure the Giants win yet. The Giants are ahead the whole game, right? And the Broncos somehow in the fourth quarter come back and score 33 points. It's like it's never been done before. Nobody's ever been shut out the whole game and scored 33 points in the fourth quarter and beat the Giants. And the Giants actually got the lead back in the last 2 minutes and lost again. So, I mean, you think Pittsburgh fans, Steelers fans got their heart broken. Just think of the poor Giant fans. And, of course, the Jets, your old quarterback, he got hurt, and now they think they may go to Tyrod Taylor now. So what's the old Pittsburgh quarterback from last year? The former Bear.
Justin Fields.
He may have lost his job to Tyrod Taylor, whatever. The Jets, of course, still have no wins, and they're hopeless. I mean, they have no offense, no defense. They got nothing going for them, Bill, except the first pick in the draft next year.
Yeah, that's about it. Well, down here, because I live in Florida, everybody's all up in arms about the Dolphins because they're 1-5.
And they want that head coach fired, but they won't fire
the head coach fired and a general manager to fire him, but the owner doesn't want to fire them right now. So go figure that.
And they're another team. You should get the Dolphins. Who did I just say before? Dolphins, Giants. You should get some of these teams. Jets. You should get them on Pittsburgh's schedule more often.
Yeah, really.
You got Browns plays, but you should line the Dolphins up for a couple games. Get a couple more games with the Jets,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And of course, you joke because that doesn't do you any good because the playoffs come around and you don't play those teams. We had the Giants. That was heartbreaking. And then Monday night, how about Seattle? Seattle won in football, but they lost in baseball. So now Toronto's going back to the World Series for the first time since they beat the Phillies in '93.
Yep.
Bill, what's your prediction in that Toronto Blue Jays, Los Angeles Dodgers World Series? Starts Friday night.
Dodgers will win in 5.
Have you ever seen anything like Ohtani did in the last game in the playoffs where he threw 6 shutout innings and then hit 3 homers?
That's insane.
That's like Babe Ruth, right?
That's pure insanity. So you have anything, closing thoughts here? We're going to wrap things up.
We went way over time. Yeah, no, folks, as much as Bill and I down job about drones, if you got the Mini 5 Pro or the Mavic 4 Pro or any recent drone, get out there and fly.
Exactly.
These are the best drones we've ever had. These last couple releases of DJI, last couple generations, they're the best drones ever. If Rick Scott doesn't take them away from us, they'll be flying good for years, Bill. So that's my get out there and fly, guys.
Absolutely. All right, guys. It's a great day to fly. Take care, everybody.
Good night.